Okay, we'll get going here. I just posted the part one of this video a few minutes ago, and it really was pretty bad. There was a timestamp from the GoPro, the knockoff GoPro that was in there. I ran it through an image stabilizer. It's shaky, but it's one of those things. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, so I put it out there. So part one was just out there about an hour ago. But I just wanted to start this. I was going to do this as like, a couple minute updates and then string a bunch together and make part one, part two. Honestly, I think this thing's within a few weeks of being done. So, but I'll still have things like this. I started putting together pieces of this to go on. Like I said in the other video, uh, first part is my goal is to be able to pull one motorcycle up on and put it down and still have room at the back for connecting camper. It's like regular trailer or whatever. Yeah, I know this is going to add weight. I do have airbags, like I said, 2500 HD. It's got airbags, so it can handle the weight. It may not be for everyone, but the back of my bumper is going to be about right here. And, then my hitch would be like right here for doing that. But anyway, updates on what I got done since the last video. The big one is this panel. So I started doing an electrical panel. One thing is like this is about 30 inches across. And of course the complete bed width is like 60. You would have your wheel well about here on each side. And then, room past that. So, you're looking at 60 inches is going to put you about here if you have something that is full bed width. Of course, single motorcycle, you don't need that. But future plans probably will. I left a few things here for haters. I did wire this in as like wire ties because I need to get the final thing there. But the panel, I'm using pieces from the pallet stacker, and I don't think I said so. Like, this is what a hydraulic electric pallet stacker kind of looks like when it starts. You can see the legs and the forks, etc., that I've recycled for different parts of this. But yes, so the electrical panel, did that. I got some basic wiring done. I used the electric hydraulic from the pallet stacker to kind of get it started. I need a circuit breaker in here, so I think I'm going to replace this lead with that one that came with the winch, and do that. But what I'm going to do here is do a little demo. I don't have enough room for it to go up and down, and I don't have the winch wired in yet. But the wiring was the big one. I got this kind of set. Of course, I'll want to do, instead of just wire ties, I want to do like, weldable tabs and do that, which I will in time. But the other big thing is at the back, as this thing goes down the road, the weight will be resting on a few different places. It'll be resting on the support back here, and I'm thinking between this, which is part of the base, and this, which is part of the lifted part, would be the places on the bed where the weight actually sits down. You can see I used a piece of 1/8 inch by 2 channel, which is not heavy enough. But the thing I'll go watch here is between wiring and management of hoses is that I didn't want to put like a big chunk of thing here just to have to, it's something that's getting hacked up. You can see it's getting hacked up. It goes up, it goes down, depending on, but I wanted to make something that was easy to work, and I could get just a straight piece all the way across the bottom where it would sit down on the bed. It's going to need some support. And this part is just roughed in on this side with the lift. I did have a problem with this one in that it seems like if it goes all the way down, it gets locked up. So I was messing with the wiring. I thought I had a wiring issue here. It was just it went all the way down and locked itself out. Also did some welding back here on the inside of this. I can't really reach it well, so I did what I could in the back. At some point I still need to flip this at least on its side and try to do some more welding, like at the bottom of this, on the bottom of this, because those are places that can support some weight. This one, of course, pushing the lift. But you'll see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little demo here and do it in 2 parts, because I don't think you want to spend 3 minutes watching this go up. I mean, these lifts are a little slow, but that's what I got. Also, one thing that's kind of nice is that since this is electric, if I do leave it up, I was talking about leaving it at an angle for long boats, I don't have to worry about hydraulic bleed off and it coming down. So I have a battery here and a charger that I plugged it in every night, so it's full. So the basic workings is, I'm going to show you. Yeah, this is the hardest part that it has to tilt, is right trying to lift it up. And I do need to do some, once I get a full test of it, I do need to do some beefing up here. It flexes a little, which is fine, it's just mild steel. And I'm thinking that once I know what room it needs, is I could make some additional bracing here and get that going. But what I'll show you is that I do have the left and the right separately. I mean, I think for the most part you'll just be lifting them at the same time. But if you have some type of load imbalance or whatever, which I have to be careful of, if you put the load out here, I can't see my hand. Put the load out here, you might be putting a bit of an imbalance on things, which could be bad. So, if you come in here and try to make sure everything goes just right. It sounds like it's working really hard, but it's not. Like I said, I did this with one. So right now I'm just working this control, and I will pause the video because this requires gravity to come back down out because of the way the pallet stacker. So it's a little harder. I'll put it up, I'll pause the video, I'll put this out, and I'll show you how this part of it works. So one sec. Okay, so I put it up, let those go up, and I'm at enough of an incline. I had to give it a little bump to start, but you'll see how I guess this will be what's called the stinger, flows back. But the electric hydraulic, if I just push it this way, you'll see it start to slide. I don't have room here for it to fully extend, so it's just going to go a bit and stop. Or if I stop it, and then I'll show you going back up. So work the valve, and then of course, I don't know, the way these things work is that when this is back, it just has 2 positions, lift and raise. There's no neutral on this. So if I put it back in the raised position, and then I'll try to catch what I'm doing. And so that is about the quickest thing it does. I mean, that's pretty badass. But that's it. So if I put it back down now, there's still quite a bit of lift left. I did measure this out so that when it's sitting in the pickup bed, and my pickup's a little on the high side, it's not lifted or anything, but and it's fully up, is that thing should come to the bottom, and then this is the trolley, or whatever trolley I'm using, would go behind it, lift the winch up. So as far as next steps, my plan right now is set about wiring with that winch moving back and forth. Wiring it full time would be kind of a pain, kind of a challenge, which I might try. But for now, I'm just going to put a heavy plug for those 2 up here. And then this one, this isn't wired in. This is the winch controller here. And of course, you could use a remote. But my plan is that when this thing is back and that winch is sitting right here, is that I have a little plug to plug in and then be able to work the winch. So that'll be up next. Probably a few other supports. There's some braces and such I need to do. And I'll probably work on painting it as I go too. It's about to that point. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, so updates. I got about 10 minutes of video yesterday in my updates, so I think I'll take a short one here, plug it all together, do what I call editing, get it out. Just going to try to make shorter pieces, don't want to make things that are 2 hours long to watch, but experiment with new selfie stick and different things. Of course, I'm not a video guy by any means, but try to get this done. Okay, so the big thing worked upon yesterday, a lot of wiring. You see, took out the wire nuts, did a lot of solid state soldering, shrink wrapping, tie, etc. Get this. So, you know, I have my battery sitting here with a charger on it. All this is working. And, you know, I think it's on right now. Let's see if it's hooked up. I guess so. So if you go up and hit anything, we'll talk about the winch in a minute. It'll work out. So as far as the winch, what I got is, like I talked about, it only have wire enough to feed it when it's right here. So what I did is I wired it through these heavy duty plugs so that when it's down here, you could do this. The hope is that if I forgot about that plug and then went to slide this whole unit up, that it would unplug itself. I don't care to test that really, I just hope so, because this will, even though it's pointed sideways, it's on a single pin, so it would be able to swivel out and hopefully unhook itself. So I did test that. I don't think you guys want to watch, probably seen a winch work before, but if I plug it in and use the rocker there, it'll go out. It does have a long remote on it. I just kind of wound everything up and did it here, but if I wanted to take this and actually make a port for it for the long remote, I don't know if we need that yet. I just leave my options open. So let's see, what else did I do yesterday? I did some welding. I mean, I've got a couple places where I'd considered flipping this thing upside down to weld, but man, that's gonna be a pain with all the fluids and stuff, and afraid of breaking something trying to flip this thing upside down to get good angle on the weld. So I think the big one is right underneath here. I'm gonna try to do what I can, maybe go in there, tilt it up, get like a root done at least. I don't think it's really all that critical, but I don't feel good about like leaving stuff unwelded. But you see I have the trolley belt. One of the things I'm gonna work on is start to paint here and there as I can. So I think I'm gonna try to paint this today. This thing here, you know, one thing I think about is like, what holds this down in the bed? When this thing's shifting the weight back onto here, and the one thing that's gonna wanna happen is that this part's gonna wanna come up in the truck bed. So I'm hoping that this is enough. If I do integrated tie down, start with a ratchet strap, but I might actually put like a chain and turnbuckle on there that, you know, when this thing is sliding the weight all the way back there, it's gonna need something to hold it down. Shouldn't be a whole lot, like shouldn't need to take tons and tons of weight, but it should be able to handle that. So that was one thing I got welded in. I also did some work, talked about the bracket underneath here, getting that wire on there, did a few supports, start beefing that up. I think I'll do more and more over time. Did some finish welding here and there. So the other thing I'm going to work on, I kind of got this laid out. I want to get this thing here as far forward as I can. I'm actually thinking about moving it up and welding it on. Starting to cobble this together. As far as how this is going to work, you know, you see this slides within that. But anything over here, you can't put anything right underneath this level. It's right there. Everything here needs to be empty. But I am able to build up over top of that. So that's why I keep everything above. As far as fasteners, I'm actually considered, you know, where I need to bolt stuff to this is actually just tapping holes and using, thinking like 3/8 or half on that. So that's my update. I'm gonna keep it quick. I'm gonna edit a few things together. When I say edit, I mean just to knock it end to end and put it out there. See, I did a lot of work on these. Oh, here's one thing I'm gonna do is, you know, I go back and forth on how much beefing up here is necessary on these. You see the way that I adapted this, and which might be a problem when I ever have to replace one of these, is, you know, this is your pivot point here. It's actually part of the original pallet stacker, the pallet fork, where the pin went. So all this going up through here is just stuff that I spot welded or just welded pieces on there. So this is the part taking the weight. And I wanted a little bit of support to tie this whole tube to that. So I'm gonna weld this here. Again, I'm just not sure if I ever have to replace one of these, I need to cut all that off. This isn't such a big deal, but this down here is a little funky. This isn't actually connected here. It's just the actual weight support comes up through this, and then this should distribute it through the back original tube. And I wanted to add something going around here, weld here, down here and down here. Okay, like I said, try to edit this all together and put out an update. Thanks for watching. We got a few watchers on the first video, and try to keep it going. Thank you.